Well, good evening, Jane. Good evening, Amber. I hope you are all well. How are you tonight? Good? Good evening, Jesse. Good. How are you? Oh. What's up, Don Combs? Good evening. Janie, Amber, Jesse, Don, Beretta. I'm just a Fig Newton. Yeah, that was a compilation of all the videos that I had ever happen up there. That was actually a year ago when that occurred. It was probably one of the craziest things I've ever had happen up there. That and finding those rocks. But I never realized how many kind of teepee or tripod like structures are out there. And they're not just like bent, they're woven together. Like they actually look like almost they're tied together. So it was really interesting. Hey, JT, how are you? Janet, how are you? Randall, what's up, Troy? How are you? I've never seen that movie. Never. Shari, good evening. But that tree that is broke is, I'd say, about maybe 3 inches in diameter, 7 foot at least. MJ, how are you? DC, how are you? I am Michael. Hello, cheers and chow. Cheers to chow. Puma Pete's in the house with us. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, thank you. I got my Wolfman, Frankenstein, right? The Mummy, and the wrestler Santo. El Lucho Libre. Wrestling with monsters. Just doesn't get any better. Delirium, how are you? Well, I'm glad that you're here tonight, Janet. Thanks, Cece. Do so. What's going on? No, you didn't miss anything with Brad yet. Brad had some personal issues that he had to take care of. So, thanks, Jane. Yeah, it is pretty cool. I like Santo though. Santo, he's so cool. I think I might get a Lucha Libre mask to wear on my live stream some night. That'd be pretty funny. But yeah, back to that place is just so strange. And I wonder how many of the search party that were up there realized, like, hey, there are tree structures here. These things aren't right, you know? I've got to try and reach out to, I don't know how I would find out who was there and who wasn't there. There was at least 300 to 500 people, not all at once, but through the whole thing. Simone, how are you? David, Snowman Dave, Craigers. Sonia, how are you tonight? Robert Sharp's in the house. Nairoshi. I just had to do that. I love your name. I really wish I could change my name from Jeff to Nairoshi. That'd be so cool. What's up, Tommy? How are you this evening? Justin Russell. So I have some pretty decent encounters for the evening. Oh, going kayaking tomorrow. Going to take the afternoon to myself for a little bit, do some kayaking. What's up, Rich? How are you? Just got home from Florida. Am I mistaken? But I think when you came back from Florida, you and I were going to connect. Am I mistaken or no? I know there's someone that was in Florida that I was going to connect with. What's up, Glenn? How are you? Look at this new thing I got. I got this ass cushion. It's got this blue gel in it. All right, I'm mistaken. Sorry, Rich. There's someone went to Florida. DB Mac, what's up? How are you, DB? I really wish, Wolf Moose Bear. I really wish. Gringo 4000. How are you guys? Jacob. He was. Yeah, there won't be any adjusting tonight. Actually, you're absolutely correct. Art Bell was an amazing interviewer. I'm not such a good interviewer. I will say the only thing I think I'm decent at is researching shit. And that's about it. I don't even know. What's up, dude from Texas? Nicola, how are you? I have too. What's up, James Kaufman? Kathy Hayes is with us. Cullen, how are you? What do you think about some pictures circulating online? I don't really think it's real. That's my own opinion. I think a lot, like, I don't know. I went through my video, and that's why I posted that compilation of those videos, is because in those videos that I shared, I really think that I caught a lot of stuff. One, that thing that ran across the trail, whatever ran up behind me, the metallic noises, and just other stuff that I did during those uploads. I think there's too many videos out there of people in the woods and too much pareidolia, like something that, looks like something but really isn't. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just my own opinion. I think it's cool that people are going out, but I really think that the pareidolia is a huge thing in people's videos lately. Just my own opinion. Caden might be spending time with his girlfriend. I know that's what happened last week. Pareidolia is when your eyes, like, okay, there's a famous video or a famous picture actually that shit, my brain just shut down. Jody Cook had taken a picture, and he purposely did this. He took a picture of a stump in the woods, and he like shared it, and people are like, holy shit, that's a Dogman, oh my god, yada yada. But he then went and said, no, it's this stump. And like, as an example of pareidolia, of your eyes playing tricks on you. That's what pareidolia is. What's up, Neck? How are you, brother? Yeah, that metallic sound is definitely, in my own belief, a portal being opened. Hey, Maya Luna, how are you tonight? There's Steph. What's up, brother? Okay, let's start some encounters. This is a very, very creepy. Captain Ron, how are you? This is a kind of a creepy little. What's up, Cat? How are you? Okay, this is a report from an older woman that she had fainted along one of these trails and needed assistance to get back down to the main area. This happened in Northern California. We hike up to where she was at, and her husband is beside her. He says that he was a little ways off the trail looking at something when his wife started screaming behind him. He runs back to her, and she passed out in the middle of the trail. We get her on a backboard, and as we are going down to the welcome center, she wakes up and starts screaming again. I calm her down and ask what happened. I can't remember verbatim what she said, but essentially what happened was this. She had been waiting for her husband when she started hearing this very strange sound. She said it sounded sort of like a cat, but it was off somehow, and she couldn't quite figure out why. She went a little ahead to try and hear it a little better. It sounded like it was coming closer. She said the closer it got, the more uneasy it made her feel until she finally figured out what was wrong. That it was not a cat, it was a man-like creature that sounded like it was saying the word meow over and over again. But it was not a man. It couldn't have been because I have never heard a man make his noise buzz like that. I thought my hearing aid was going out, but it hadn't. I adjusted it, and it still sounded like buzzy. It was awful. He was coming closer, and I couldn't see him. And the closer he got, the more scared I was. The last thing I remember was a shape coming out of the trees. I guess that's when I fainted. Now, obviously, I'm a little perplexed as to why a guy would be coming out of the woods making a meow sound at people. So once we got down the mountain, I tell my superior that I'm going up to search the area to see if I can find anything. He gives me the go-ahead, and I grab a radio and hike back to where she fainted. I don't see anyone, so I keep going about a mile more. And when I head back, I go off trail to see if I can figure out where she saw him coming from. It's almost sunset at this point, and I do not have any desire to be out at night alone. So I start to write it off and make a mental note to check it out again tomorrow. As I'm heading back, I start hearing something in the distance. I stop and I call out for anyone in the immediate area to identify themselves. The sound did not come closer or get louder, but it sounded exactly like a man saying meow, meow, in this very odd monotone. As comical as it sounds, it was almost like the guy Ned from South Park with the electrolarynx. I go off the trail in the direction I think it's coming from, but I never seem to get any closer. It's almost like it's coming from all directions. Eventually, it starts to fade out, and I ended up going back to the welcome center. I did not get any further reports of anything like that. And even though I went back to that area, I never heard that sound again. I suppose it could have been a stupid kid out there messing with people, but even I have to admit, it's pretty weird. What's up, Johnny Ohm? How are you? Nick Hendricks, how are you tonight? Moondog Rex. Truth in Christ, how are you? Margie. Megan Kelly, how are you tonight? Oh, Janie did something. uh, hang on 1 second. Yeah, send a message to Janie. All right. So yeah, that experience with the kind of electro-larynx meow sound, maybe a guy coming out of a portal. I don't know. Fuck. What's up, Stacy? How are you? Stacy Brooks and Stacy Lockett. Nicholas Carroll, what's going on? How are you this evening? Oh, awesome, awesome. Yeah, definitely. Alan Howell, how are you tonight? Truth Quest, these things definitely have to be investigated. Hey, Natalie, how are you? Natalie and Melissa Stock hanging out tonight. Dis, what's going on? Shackle Neck, Candy Kelly, how are you? Holistic, how are you tonight? Awesome, Alan Howell. Awesome. Glad you're doing well, my friend. Got a winged humanoid. Jenny is on fire tonight. Oh, Jimmy Petanito is going to be jumping in. Randall Kennedy, thank you so much. Thank you for the love, my friend. I truly appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know how we would investigate a portal, though. You know what I mean? Like, one, you would have to figure out where it's opening. Two, do they open in different locations? Three, what's going to happen if you do investigate them? Are you going to get drawn into, like, sucked into one, or is something going to come out and get you? Donna Harmon, thank you so much. Stacy Brooks, thank you so much. I love stories about the Fae. I will get some next week for you. I've got a stack of them right now that I don't have any Fae in there, so I apologize. I will put one in next week for you, dearie. I promise. Donna Harmon, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Demons make portals. Testimony of Solomon. Maybe. Or alternate dimensions. Science has already proven dimensions exist. So maybe demons live on those alternate dimensions. Hey, Lily Lewis, how are you? A little go around with you too. Oh, Janie. Aren't we all? Okay, so I live in Toronto, but I've had a lot of family in the States, and one of them claims to have actually seen the Mothman. He said it was a creature unlike anything he had ever seen before, covered in hair, with leather-like skin from top to bottom, that had a terrifying screech. He and his wife were driving home from a night out, and just before they were about to cross the bridge, this thing swept down from the sky and landed in the middle of the road. He said it was around 11 o'clock at night and there was no other cars on the road, but the weirdest thing of all, his dash cam instantly malfunctioned. And when he played it back, all he could see was static. He was both excited and terrified because he's been hearing about legends for years and couldn't believe he was actually having an encounter with it. But he was so angry when he noticed the video was not recording. He said it was working perfectly up until that moment this creature came out of the sky and landed in the road in front of him. As soon as whatever this thing was flew away, the recording returned to normal, which leads me to believe it's a paranormal entity, as they are known for interfering with electronic equipment. He didn't dare report it because he thought people would think he was crazy, but I'll never forget that phone call. He called me first, even though I'm just a distant relative. He said he remembered that I have a strong fascination with the paranormal and unknown, but I could actually hear the fear in his voice. And his wife was sobbing in the background. He told me that this thing looked like it was absolutely massive. Head, arms, legs, basically a humanoid type figure. It had no neck. Unbelievably huge, yellow, reddish eyes that seemed to glow in the dark. Its wingspan was at least 10 feet. I assure you that this guy is not prone to exaggeration or making false claims of any sort. As a matter of fact, he's a police officer, and that's why he did not report it, because he said they get dozens of fake sightings every year and his colleagues are always joking and laughing about it. But now that he experienced it for himself, he is hell-bent on figuring out what exactly this thing was. And even though it didn't hurt him, he said it did appear to be incredibly intimidating, actually walking toward the car as they sat there in a panic state. He said a few seconds felt like an eternity, but eventually, as the creature was 10 feet from the hood of his car, he honked his horn and flashed his high beams, and that seemed to do the trick. He said this thing flew away so fast that it was literally in the blink of an eye, and it was gone. This happened quite some time ago, yet he has only told myself and 2 other family members and refuses to tell anyone else for fear of being labeled a conspiracist theorist, especially given his career. But I believe him. He is an outstanding citizen, an absolutely brilliant man who actually has 3 master's degrees, a man of science, who has never believed in anything unusual or paranormal, so I know he is telling the truth. I just wish he was able to get video. But after the description he gave me, it makes me glad that I am all the way in Toronto. I would not want to run into that thing at 11 o'clock on an abandoned highway at night by myself. What's up, Steve-O? How are you? Fuji, what's going on, my friend? We will investigate, Fuji. Skip some ads right here. I purposely bought this shirt for this live stream, and I bought another shirt for next week's live stream, and you guys are going to absolutely love it. And I will not tell you what that shirt says, but it kind of goes like this. $20 is $20. Oh. Caden, how are you? I'm glad you're here with us. We were worried about you. We thought you chose your girlfriend over us again. I'm just teasing you. Blueberry crumble blackout coffee is the bomb. That sounds actually kind of good. I don't like flavored coffee. Yeah, he is, but he's not in front of the house tonight. He is. You won't even be able to see him. He's down further. He's about, I don't know, 100 feet past the first sign there. So if normally where he's normally parked, like right there, He's like 100 feet ahead of that. Web Surfer. Holy shit. Jimmy Baker's in the house. What's up, Jimmy Baker? Web Surfer, thank you for the love, my friend. I appreciate you. Oh, thank you for everybody blessing me tonight. I truly appreciate that shit. We smoking on anything? Well, you know, $20 is $20. I ain't gay, but haha, baby. Oh shit. Ryan Mack, how are you? Cuckoo bananas. No, I'm not. You know I'm sober, Mr. Baker. It's my jewel, brother. That's my jewel. DL, how are you? I wonder woman would be more afraid in the woods than a dogman. I wonder woman would be more afraid of man in the woods. So you wonder if a woman would be more afraid of a man in the woods of a dogman and a Bigfoot? I don't know. A wax jewel. DB Mac. What's up, Jeremiah Israel? How are you, my friend? Cat. I'm smoking. Thanks, Joseph Cannon. I'm gonna actually. So I got this shirt. I ordered it. It's a basketball jersey, like made of that jersey mesh, and it says "I'm not gay, but $20 is $20." But I'm gonna see if the company that I work with offers the jersey material in shirts, and I'm just gonna do the $20 is $20, and then put the logo of the channel on the back. If they do, I'm going to work on that probably tomorrow night. Also, Brad, I'm going to be interviewing Brad Monday night. So Tuesday, the new interview with Bradley will be out. He had some health issue come up, not a major health issue, but just something that he had to get taken care of really quick. He needed a vasectomy at an older age. No, I'm just kidding. But he's going to be here Tuesday, so I'm looking forward to it. Kathy's smoking an old stogie. I've seen Prince, Danielle. I've seen a Dogman, so I have seen Prince before. A couple different times. I'm large Prince. I have a friend of mine who investigates the strange stuff in the Pine Barrens. He sent me some pictures of some really strange prints, and this woman that found him was wearing like those Ugg boots, and she was a big girl. You could tell she had some big feet on her. She was like a Wookiee, and so her feet were like huge, but her Uggs were small or the same size in comparison to the prints that she found. I'm from Newbury area. Isn't that where the Dogman was first seen or something? No, Natalie. The Dogman was not first seen in Michigan. It was made famous by that song, but people were talking about Dogman for centuries before that song came out. But yeah, there's been numerous sightings in Michigan, as well as every other state, and pretty much countrywide, worldwide, actually. I'm starting to realize that there's a lot of shit going on in Central and South America, which is pretty interesting. 186 people, 66 likes. Holy shit, guys. Come on, let's get those likes up, please. Please. Yeah, that woman looked like, that Eddie Murphy joke. Gus, your fucking wife is a Bigfoot. You found her in the woods and you shaved her and she said, "Goonie goo goo." Jim Baker is back. He had fake wooden prints and he said he used. I don't know. I didn't hear about that. I mean, that's old new. Holy shit. Thank you, Rockin' Steady. Thank you, brother. Appreciate the love. Thank you. I will get that anal bleaching done this week and I will send you a pic just for you with captions on the bottom of that photo for you, because $20 is $20. Ermic, how are you? I know you are going to appreciate that. I know. Baby. Hey, Carla. Yeah, I will put together a Lot Lizard story in my head while we are talking. Been in bed with some sort of sickness. We came home from vacation. Yeah, the heat is really bad. My dad has not been doing his walking for the last 2 days because it's been like 90 degrees in upstate New York. So I took him yesterday. I took him yesterday and we went and got lunch really quick. And then I took him to this wildlife preserve that we have up here, and drove around just the outskirts of it for him, just to get out of the house for a couple hours and spend some time with the old fart. How do I find the original vid of Brad's email to email you read? So when you go here, Roxy, what you do is you go to the YouTube search bar, you type in Jeff Nadolny, and then type in Brad right after. So Jeff Nadolny, Brad, and the video should pop up. Can I donate $5? Rockin' Steady's baby oil. Yeah, that was. Do something. You know your comedy, brother. 104 in Texas. Well, it's always hot in Texas. That's why I'm surprised Bigfoot hangs out in Texas. Like, his hairy balls must be sweating. Thank you, Shari. I appreciate that. 118 in Vegas. Good Lord. Super musky squatch balls. You know it. I wonder if I wonder when he itches those, I wonder if he goes a little bit. You think little smell? Maybe a little lick? Spirit Hunter, welcome to the show. New England area. Awesome. New England is a very interesting paranormal place. Yes, definitely, Steve-O. You know he does the sniff. He does that little lick too. He's got to taste it and make sure it's good, for the old Sasquatch ladies out there later when he's doing the old teabagging, the old Sasquatch teabag with the old Bigfoot mamas. He's like, blip, 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 blip. Well, stories of Bigfoot mounting cows has been 20, 30 years talked about. 107 in pacing. Fuck. Wow. Damn it. Triple digits. But yeah, like, farmers have caught cows that have been mounted by Bigfoot. They've seen them mounted by Bigfoot. It isn't anything new. It's seldom talked about. I don't know why. Just like I've never in the 30 years I've been reading, researching, and everything, I've never heard of a Dogman experience where they've been caught having, doggy style. But until that Ohio guy reached out to me and shared that experience. So, yeah, Jim Baker, definitely. Well, I don't know if it's, maybe the cow would like it, have you seen a bull's thing? A bull's thing is like an arm hanging down. It's like this. So, Bigfoot is not as big as my arm. I'm sure he's got a big junk, but, a bull's got a fucking hog on it. Bigfoot ain't going to be anything compared to it. What's up, drunk ant? Boom, how are ya? I don't think a cow would like having a roll of tar paper inserted. Well, I doubt Bigfoot's packing a roll of tar paper. And how do you know Bigfoot's tar thinger is like tar paper, Puma Pete? What aren't you telling us, Puma? There's no way Bigfoot's bigger than a fucking bull. There's just no way. Just no way. No cap. Keep that stuff to yourself. No Tijuana donkey shows tonight, my friend. You go to jail. So we've all heard of hauntings and such, but has anyone ever heard of house schools? They lurk inside your home, undetected by the naked eye. They live inside the cracks and walls of your home, mainly crawl spaces, attics, or basements. Not sure if they are supernatural beings or not, but I once encountered one. The neighbor's house and mine are maybe 80 to 100 feet away. When I lived in South Jersey near Vineland, the neighbors aren't what you would call quiet neighbors. They had a county police out there many times, mainly domestic calls for their adult son from within the home. He may have autism or some type of learning or developmental disability because he would lash out in anger sometimes at the household. It was just the father and mother with their son residing there. One night, the ambulance and police came out to the house, and they brought the son out of the home on a stretcher screaming or something. It looked like visible blood, but I really couldn't see anything due to the glare of the police lights and EMS strobes in the area. His mother was also taken to the medical center. Dad stayed home. A day or two later, no one was at the house, and it still looked like they moved out. It seemed like they just up and left. We're in a little town also, so I would think somebody would have seen someone leave. I was able to cure my intense curiosity when a buddy of mine, who I went to high school with, was an EMT that night at the house, and I was able to catch him at the local pub. Sitting at the pub, I go up and ask, "Oscar, what the hell happened that night?" He calmly looks at me with a hump and grind and responds, "Crazy shit." He told me that the son snapped, took a paring knife, stabbed his mom in the neck. Then he went after the old man. The father was able to shove his son inside a closet, lock the door until the police came. While inside the closet, the son then started to bellow and scream. When the police opened the door, he had taken the paring knife and stabbed all inside his navel and gouged out his right eye. He screamed the whole way out of that home and all the way to the hospital. I said, "Wow, what do you think he snapped for?" My friend said, "No, it's definitely the house." I then chuckled off. The exact same night later on, I saw what looked like people at the house. There was discarded furniture at the end of the lawn for trash collection. Couches, tables, chairs, and other things I assumed were clothes inside black trash bags. It's not uncommon for people to search through trash or furniture, though, so I was going to look away, I noticed these little elderly-like people. They were hunched over with skinny bodies and protruding round bellies. Seemed like they were balding with very thin strands of cotton-like hair illuminated by the dimming garage light. I go out to take a look further, and I see two of them rummaging through the trash. One of them then goes around to the side of the house. No more than 4 foot 4 inches tall, stocky build. The skin was pale, sweaty. Arms were short at the shoulder and long at the elbows. They also walked with a hobble, a disgusting, snorted kind of walk. The other was a bit taller, maybe 5'11", with short arms, long fingers, long skinny legs, and walked hunched over. If it stood straight up, I'd say it'd be 7 feet tall. Both had very deep eye sockets. You could barely see any eyes. In total disbelief of what I'm seeing, I had to wake my wife up and show her. She then goes and makes salt water. She then said an African Orisha prayer, opened the door, poured the water on our doorstep and porch, and closed it. We then watched these things try to get back inside the empty home. Then they were gone. I later found out that the lady lived there way before I was born, and she charged people to do seances. I guess she was a medium. Needless to say, I do not live there anymore. Kim Duckworth, how are you? House elves, yeah. I mean, here, maybe that's what, so the reason why I have this, all right, Roxy, no, I've watched all of these looking for one where you just read Brad before Brad was a guest. Any more search words? I don't know. I honestly, Roxy, I can't. I'll think during this. But the reason why I have this action figure is because Jeff Deere, he's now deceased. He died unexpectedly right after he sent me that for my birthday. I had shared my paranormal experience from when I was a kid. And maybe that's what was living in our attic, because when I was little, before my parents moved to my granddad's house after he passed away, we had this really beautiful little house in the village, and it had a basement, the main floor, and the attic. And the attic was pretty big, but the attic door kind of came, like the stairs were here. So if you went into the kitchen, you could actually go around the house. And the basement door was on one side, the attic door was on the other. So one day, I looked through the peephole, and I used to be able to see the window light. And I looked through the peephole, and there's no light, but it was sunny. And it had one of those locks, those slide locks that are at the top that you kind of slide like that. So it was locked from the outside, and I look, and there's no light, and I knock, and I'm about 5 or 6, and something knocked back. And I remember, like, in my head going, we went apple picking that day, and I never said a word. I remember being freaked out. I'm sitting in between my mom and dad in the truck, and we went apple picking. We came home, everything was fine. The next day, my dad worked at the paper mill, and he worked shift work. So it was just me and my mom. And we went to the mall, and my mom had gotten me the G.I. Joe water moccasin that came with this action figure, Copperhead. Well, when we got home, the door was opened. So something somehow unlocked that door from the inside. There was no footprints around our house. My uncle was the sergeant of South Glens Falls Police Department at the time. He came, did an investigation. We couldn't figure out how that door opened. There was nothing taken, nothing stolen, nothing. But maybe that was just one of those freaking little. And then around that time, I had really mean cousins. They were 10 years older than me, and they used to hang me by my feet upside down over, the furnace grates. So they'd take the grate off and there'd be that hole. There's no way I was going to fit in it. My head could barely fit in it. I had a big head when I was a kid, but I thought I'd fall through the hole, Well, they put me in my closet, and I don't know if it was my imagination, but I'll never forget it. I was in my closet, and my closet was pretty deep, but I saw what looked like eyes in the back of my closet, and I bugged out. They let me out of there. And shortly after, my grandpa died, and we ended up moving to that house. I don't know. I don't know if it was maybe one of those things. Maybe a house elf, a house troll. Yeah, all little kids have yeah, absolutely. Jimmy Baker, I was in the closet with you, baby. You don't remember? I was getting elbow deep on you. What's up, pups? How are you? Firehorse, how are you? Okay, I did that one. Absolutely, Shari. Absolutely. And then, from there, it just, hey, Chris, how are you? Chris Mills. And then from there, it was that time at my cousin's farm, my family's farm, that's now going to, it's no longer in use. I brought you guys there one day with my camera. Whatever we pulled out of the Ouija board that summer was no good. Was no good. Hey, Joe, how are you tonight? Stormy Light, how are you? Go Sage. Oh, yeah. Nothing better than a fucking cherry Coke burp. I missed you guys all week. I literally missed you guys all week. I heard if you pee on a Ouija board, burning it, nothing follows you home. I am not pulling my penis out and going anywhere near a Ouija board. No, thank you. No, thank you. I love my wiener too much. What's up, Tyler Marshall? How are you? I know that I don't trust them. I have one here, but it has a bottle of holy water on top of it, and it's locked away in a glass kind of box thing. Awesome, Cat. We love you too. What's up, Throggy? Dr. Pepper Cherry burps are better. Yes, sir. Ask the dowsing rods if that's okay. Maybe in a minute. I'll pull out the dowsing rods in a little bit. 59th, how are you? If I missed you, I am sorry. No Pee-wee's Playhouse with a Ouija board. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah, I was told never to burn one too. It's not something I would even attempt to do. Jefferson Manchild. I love the name. Welcome to the show. Tommy Sullivan, how are you? I think we all used Ouija. Not all, but I guarantee out of 20 people, if you ask 20 people, have you used a Ouija board? I would say 5, maybe 6 people would say yes. In a certain age group, you know, I doubt that the kids nowadays are even, going outside anymore, let alone getting off their phone or tic tac. Playing with tic tac. I gotta play my tic tac. 175th Hydro. Thank you. Appreciate that, brother. Girl, sister. If you're a boy, girl, sister, I appreciate you. 175 Hydro. Thank you. Charles Widmore, what's going on? Where the fuck is Wilburn? Wilburn! Where the fuck are you? DC, I don't know what happened to the Ouija board that my cousins and I used. I know that. So I'll just share the quick experience and then we'll go further into more experiences. But so that summer was a really weird summer. I was like 14, 15 years old. I was going into 9th grade and we would work our ass off on the farm all day long, ride our 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, jump in my cousin's Camaro. He had a 78 Camaro with a 400 small block in it. We'd go up to Lake George and cruise around the lake and come back home. And then we'd drink some wine coolers and play the Ouija. One night it was my cousin Mel, whose dad owned the farm, my cousin John, and our friend Nikki. We're all sitting there. We've got milk crates, those crates that put the 4-gallon jugs in. So we're sitting on, each of us are sitting on a crate, and we've got 2 crates stacked with the Ouija board. It's a table. We're sitting down this hallway in the farm. And if you guys have seen the video, you'll know where I'm talking about because I showed you where the female pigs would give birth. And then when they were old enough, we'd let them out. So before we came home and before we started to play Ouija, we needed to do some quick work. So my cousin Mel said, do this, do that. Jeff, I'm going to throw you up through the hole and you get Aramic. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I did a my brain just shut off. Mothman experience for you in the beginning. Thank you, Aramic. I appreciate that. So there's a hole in the ceiling to the hayloft. There's no lights in the ceiling or in the hayloft at all because it's an old farm. And my great uncle was afraid of fire and stuff. And smart, intelligent person would be. So I get up there and I'm tiny. Like I was a small kid. I weighed 9th grade wrestling year. I wrestled at 119. So I was 5'10" at 119 pounds. So I'm up there and I'm looking for hay quick to grab because I'm sketched out. And I grab one, I throw it down. I grab another, I throw it down, and I hear in the hay, like how hay moves when something's in it or walking on it. And I turn and I see at the end of the hayloft, there's a door that looks out to a pig pen. And the door was not open, but it was cracked and it didn't lock. It would always open in the wind by itself anyway. But I saw a silhouette of something. I then jumped through the hole. Like I hit the concrete floor and my elbow, I remember hitting my elbow, so it was fucked up. My feet landed in the cow shit in the gutter, and I looked up, and my cousin Mel was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And because I almost landed on him, and then we both saw this hand. It wasn't like skin colored. Like it was black, like a silhouette black, like not like skin, not like a black person or a white person. It was just like this black silhouette colored hand. And I looked, and we fucking took off out of the farm or out of the barn, and we're just like, holy shit. So we run up, and we get his dad. My dad ends up coming down, and they go up in the hayloft, and they searched it, and nothing was there. Rocket steady. Thank you, brother. And we hide the wine coolers so our dads don't see it. And they're like, nothing's up there. Nothing's up there. Quit messing around. So they leave, and we stay, and we play Ouija. My older cousin was like, metalhead, and I always wanted to be him. So like, I was wearing my little Slayer shirt and shit. And we were listening to like Megadeth and just being dumb. And not that like, we thought we were badass. So we're playing with Ouija, and it said that we were going to see a demon. Throughout the night, there's this plastic on a window, and if you find that video of the farm, you'll see it. It bowed out, and it looked like a face of a demon. It said that we were all going to see the hounds of hell, and we were all going to die. And we stopped playing it. We never played it again. Jay Mathers, thank you so much for the love. Bruce Davis, Bruce Davis, how are you? So I don't know what happened to the board. Now, after all of that, my cousin JR and my cousin Mel woke up screaming because we all slept, and we all went up to the house, and my cousin had the basement. So we had this huge room, and with couches and shit. So we slept there that night because we were all sketched. And so we end up waking up to Mel and JR screaming. And we're like, what the hell? What the hell? All of a sudden, we are, they wake up, and they tell us we had fucking nightmare, hounds of hell, wolves were chasing us. And I believed my cousin Mel because he never lied to me. Like, he always protected me. He was like my older brother that I never had. And I miss him to this day. He was just, fucking awesome. JR ended up dying first. He got cancer 2 years later, and he was 20, almost 21 when he died. Then I saw the Dogman and had my own experience. So I, for the longest time, counted that as my sighting of the hellhound. Nikki just became emotionally, spiritually, and physically dead. He, last we knew, he is a male, or was a male prostitute with a sexually transmitted disease, and he might be dead now. I don't know. He just fucking gave up everything and moved out to California. My cousin Mel ended up being crushed by a tractor trailer. He was working on it, and he had everything. It was safe. He had done this a million times, but for some reason, something happened, and the truck rolled on him and crushed him. And then I got diagnosed with my terminal illness. So I think the Ouija board came true. I think it was all, I'm good, Chrissy. I'm good. But I really think that's the Ouija board. It took years for it to do what it wanted to do, but it did it, you know? And I don't think anyone could tell me difference at all. Savage Lunatic, yeah, it was twice or three times. I think it was three times. I don't think I included the third when I was walking away. Whatever it was walking further away from me, thank the Lord. But yeah, Ouija boards are not good. So all right, I got a Dogman experience that I want to share with y'all. When we were teenagers, my brother and I took a trip with my cousin and her family to their cabin in Gaylord, Michigan. It was a very rustic cabin that's been in her husband's family for generations. Nobody, nothing around for several miles, very thick woods. Breathtaking, beautiful. There is no road that goes to the cabin, and there is no driveway or path. You literally follow a map and drive off into the woods until you find it. My cousin's husband mentioned that past generations had built other smaller cabins nearby and would write journal entries about their experiences. Some of the entries date back to the early 1900s. Thinking that was the coolest thing ever, we grabbed protection on the chance that we ran into a bear or something, a flashlight because it was getting late, and made our way into the woods. We did not intend to be gone long, mostly just planning a destination for the next day's adventure. When we found one of the cabins, maybe a 20-minute walk from the home cabin, we decided to take a break and see what was inside. Neither of us were aware of how quick it was getting dark when you're in the woods that thick, and the next thing we knew, it was pitch black outside. We panicked a bit because these are not woods you want to be in at night. And without a light of day, we have no idea how to get back. Not the best decision making on anyone's part, but hey, what can you do now? We remembered what we were told: make enough noise, and if there are any dangerous animals nearby, they will likely get scared and go somewhere else. The predators in the area aren't exactly hungry, so we should be fine. We remembered this too late because the next thing we know, there are a pair of glowing yellow eyes off in the distance, moving very slowly towards us. A large white silhouette of a wolf comes into view with those yellow eyes. Quickly, about a dozen more pair of yellow eyes appear. We had been joined by an entire pack of wolves just staring at us. To paint a picture, the cabin is about the size of a small RV, and the entire front side of it is plexiglass window. The door was just a screen. We knew that we were supposed to make enough noise to keep the predators away from us. We had no idea what to do if we found ourselves in the middle of a wolf's lair with all eyes on us. Both terrified and in awe, we froze. We heard another wolf pack howling a few miles behind us, and then another one off to the right. This made us even more terrified because we were told that wolf packs typically avoid each other's territories. So what are they all doing so close to each other? We are both completely aware that they could have just sounded closer than they were, but in the moment, they literally sounded like they were right on top of us. We couldn't tell if it was minutes or hours that had passed. We were frozen. We were hoping that my cousin's husband wasn't going to stumble into this situation looking for us. The wolves started to lay down one by one. Every now and then we'd see a pair of eyes pop up, but mostly they had stopped caring that we were there. That's when this happened. Much like the first wolf that we saw, a pair of yellow eyes approaching from the distance, except this time the silhouette was huge and moved like a ghost. My brother grabbed my arm tightly. We were both terrified. Whatever was walking towards us was not like the other wolves at all. It had a humped back and its shoulders were higher than what a canine normally looks like. It moved this way around the sleeping wolves toward the cabin and towards us, doing everything in my mind to tell myself that it was just a weird-looking wolf, maybe some sort of deformity, or that my eyes are playing tricks on me in the moonlight. There is no way that what I think I am seeing is actually there. That was when it stood up on its hind legs, hunched over, and slowly walked up the steps to the cabin's door. Remember, the cabin door is just screened. Instead of opening it, it just hunched over and sat down on the porch. I'll never forget the way it was breathing. Heaving is more like it. Its entire body rocked back and forth with every inhale and exhale while it looked over the sleeping wolves. I whispered to my brother, "What the hell is that?" And it started to moan and then growl. Stood back up and walked to the other side of the porch, got back on all fours, walked down the steps the way a person would if they were on all fours, and began walking in circles around the cabin before coming back to the steps, rocking and heaving at the foot of the steps again, facing the wolves. Stacy Brooks, thank you so much. Eventually, it got up and walked to the back of the cabin. I've never been so scared in my life. WTF was that thing? We sat there frozen in absolute silence until the sun came up. I'm not sure that I even blinked once, but we never saw the wolves get up and leave. When the sun started to peer through the tree canopy, the whole area was clear. It was only us. Wolves really are majestic creatures. It was impressive to witness just how stealthily they could be. When we got back to the home cabin, we assured our panicking cousin that we were fine, but when we told her what happened, her husband laughed at us. He had been going to this cabin his entire life and had never seen a wolf that close, let alone an entire pack. He seemed not to realize that him and his friends partying out there is a bit more of a deterrent than my brother and I sitting quietly. He walked away from us when we told him we heard multiple packs. We decided not to mention the upright wolf. If he thought we were imagining the wolves, what would be the point of telling him we were stalked by a bipedal one? Neither of us are the type of people that believe in werewolves or things like that. Hell, I still don't, and I saw it, but we know what we saw. Definitely not an animal that I've ever known to be in existence. Fast forward 13 years later to right now. I'm watching a documentary on legends of different creatures and learned about the Michigan Dogman. Ridiculous name, the most ridiculous and unbelievable stories like mine. I do a little more research and find that there are a lot of people from northern Michigan with the same similar story. Hell, actually all around the country. The creature that these people are describing is almost exactly what me and my cousin experienced or brother experienced. A human-like creature with the head of a dog. The reports of this creature are mostly centered around northern lower peninsula of Michigan, where you would find Gaylord. I am not the type to jump to believing things like this. All I know is that wolf looked mutated and stood up and walked up those steps. My brother and I have always shared this. Do you remember that time in Gaylord? Mostly we leave out the oddity because beside the terror, this is the coolest thing I've ever experienced. Learning that this monster-like thing that we saw is actually a thing has rocked me to my core. Good night, Caden. Have a good night, buddy. Be safe. Don't let your meatloaf. Oh, thanks, Joe. Good night. Caden's coming back. Is Caden okay? What did I miss? I'm gonna shackle neck. I'm bringing the night vision monocle that you got me when I go up to where Tom Mezek disappeared. I think I'm gonna go this week at night. I got to figure out a way of. I think my camera has night vision, if I'm not mistaken. I got to figure out how to use it, though. Turbo Christ, how are you? Yeah, I'm going to go back up at night, Aramic. I went once already this year. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Did I get his email? I don't know. Let me check. It's kind of annoying having to check for emails during the live stream. So, oh shit. We're going to share Robert's fucking black-eyed kid encounter right here. Can I share, Robert, can I share the woman's name? Bye, Caden. Bye, Joe. Have a good one. Yes. Okay. All right, Jeff, this happened to me and Diane on the morning of June 27th. I was at work at the time. My daughter, who was with Diane at our 3-story apartment, and they were sitting at the kitchen table at the time. It was raining hard at the time. They heard footsteps. Hang on, let me skip these ads. They heard footsteps coming up to the back door stairs on the outside balcony. When the door opened, a 5-foot black-eyed child, a male, opened the door. My daughter screamed. My wife reached and grabbed for her .44 snub-nosed revolver and blasted the black-eyed intruder 5 times, hitting it all 5 shots, which blew it and half of the kitchen door off the 3-story balcony. I was called home immediately. As I got home, everyone was there, and I asked if my wife and daughter were okay. They said yes. The police looked everywhere for this intruder, who was wearing a black and red jumpsuit with white tennis shoes, and never found the intruder. So now I'm worried because I am thinking that now these black-eyed kids can now just open doors without asking. So now I have not slept in days, and I have been talking to my cousin. Maybe I should reach out for Rascal's pups to stay with me. P.S. Jeff, what do you think I should do? Spread some salt or holy water? You know that experience that I just shared prior to the cryptid, the house schools. I've never heard of anything like that, but that lady did that salt water and then put it on her porch and said a prayer. Try that, but try salt. It might not have been a black-eyed kid. It might have been something different, because I've never heard of them just openly coming into your home without asking. But definitely try something. What's up, Mr. Rollins? How are you? Yeah, definitely demonic. Moving. I would I would definitely. And I didn't mean like looking at emails is annoying. What I meant was like I didn't want to annoy you guys by looking at emails. You know what I mean? New Age Bonobo. It's just a Jewel classic tobacco or Virginia tobacco. I live in upstate New York. I miss Jewel mango pods. If anyone can find Jewel mango pods, I will pay for them and I will send pictures of my feet. No, it's tobacco. It's nicotine. It's not. Oh, thank you, Stacy. I dropped my other jewel somewhere. I heard it fall. I'm gonna look for it all night now. Tonight when I get home. Wheezy Stumpin, thank you, my friend. I think there was another subscriber. I will do that in a second. I know what you're getting at. I know what you're getting at. DB Mac, and I will in 1 second, I promise. Let me just check and see if there's any subscriber emails in here with experiences. That was a good one, Robert, though. That was an interesting black-eyed kid story. I don't know if it's a black-eyed kid, though. I keep thinking about it because I've never heard of one just openly coming into your home. No, actually, there was that one 2 weeks ago where that lady, she didn't invite it in, it just walked in. Yeah, it walked in her house and went into her bathroom, remember? She did not invite it in the house. So maybe it was, brother. The crazy thing is the fucking cops came, dude. I'm a Fed and I'm the keyboard and I'm on the keyboard again. Holy shit, Krieger's 57. You noticed that? Wow, thanks. I actually lost 10 pounds. I weighed 198 pounds, now I weigh 188. Yeah, I feel a little better too. Robert, stop doing that. I don't want to share your email with a billion people, okay? Like that's not cool. Figure out a way of sharing your email with other people, please, cuz I don't like doing that. Cuz it like takes hours out of my fucking time if I have to do that all the time. Like befriend someone on Facebook or something. But you know what I mean? Like it's not that it is kind of a hassle because then I get an email, I got to respond to it. Hey, can I have Robert's email? Sure. Boop. Hey, can I have Robert's email? Sure. I'm not your secretary, dude. But I'll do it for you this one time, okay, Robert? I promise. So $20 is $20. That was a good one. That was fucking good. DB Mac, congratulations. Ooh, I forgot about this encounter. Holy shit. Holy shiznits. All right, this is a little longer. Hang on, I gotta adjust. Do. Okay. No. There we go. Much better now. This experience is a little longer. And so it's actually really fucking cool. This may be very disturbing to some of you. I could never tell this experience in person, but it's easier just to type it out and share it like this. When my wife and I were quite a bit younger, we decided that we were going to spend the 1976 bicentennial outdoors. We lived in Pueblo, Colorado at the time and decided to go hiking, fishing, and camp along Lime Creek between Durango and Silverton. There wasn't anything other than brookies in the creek, but they were plentiful and fun to catch. We left our car by the side of the road along Old Lime Creek Road about 5 miles in from the highway and packed in upstream along the creek with our shepherd, Rebel. It only took us about an hour to get to where we wanted to camp, a nice meadow beside the creek just before a slot canyon that required you to swim to get any further upstream. Either that or take a several-mile detour. We camped uneventful that night, the 3rd of July, enjoying the sounds of the rippling creek and nature all around us. It was such a nice night that we just slept out under the stars and didn't bother to pitch our little backpacking tent. A little cool, but we had the fire going and our lightweight 30-degree bags, so we were pretty comfortable. The next day, we had breakfast, packed up, and we all swam our way up the creek to the next wide spot, with a bit of bank in the canyon, only about 150 yards or so. Now, Rebel was never one to turn down a chance to swim, but we had to do quite a bit of coaxing to get him to follow us upstream. We fished and splashed upstream a bit, and before we knew it, it was lunchtime. We thought we'd fry up some of those brookies, but we were in this slot canyon that terminated a fairly deep pool with about 10-foot rocky waterfall at the end. We decided that I would scale the waterfall and pull the dog and the packs up. Then I would help my wife up. It was fairly difficult, even with the help of an old cable left over from a mining operation that was hanging down the side of the wall. It took a lot of effort, and though we finally made it, we looked back down that waterfall and wondered what the heck we were thinking. Rebel was none too happy about it either, and seemed to get more irritable by the minute. We found enough driftwood at the rocky top of the falls to get a fire started and got the fish fried up, but that was about it. You know that uneasy feeling that several others have mentioned and talk about? It was like a switch turned on, and we all of a sudden became aware of our surroundings. It grew like cancer and actually watched the hair on the back of Rebel's neck stand up. My wife felt it as well, and we both noticed that it was getting dark fast down in this canyon. First thought in my head was cat, and I actually felt a bit better about that because I figured a big cat would leave us alone between the fire and my dog. I told my wife what I thought, and she seemed to feel a little better too. I did not want to get caught in the dark in that canyon for a bunch of reasons, flash flood, etc. I spied what looked like a mine shaft about 200 feet above us. A heck of a steep climb, but it looked like our best bet. We pulled out our flashlights, and by the time we reached it, it was pitch black. Thank you, Arabic. The dog was a mess at this point, whipping around in circles, whining, yelping, and generally being a pain in the ass. My wife and I were both drenched with sweat and immediately began to freeze. July in the mountains is a weird thing. I've seen blizzard conditions before, but this was like someone turned on the deep freeze. We were at what looked like the start of a mine. It only went back about 10 feet, but there was evidence of fires at the mouth, and they were curiously looked fresh. I was too tired to think more about it. I knew we had to get out of our wet clothes, pitch the tent, climb into our bags before we got hypothermia. That was no fun, let me tell you. Having to do all of that by the light of our rapidly dying flashlights, and there was no firewood anywhere close. I cursed myself several times for letting things get this far out of control. We finally got the tent pitched right there in the back of the little cave, buck naked as we were drying our clothes. The sleeping bags were slightly damp, though, even though we had stuffed them in a plastic garbage bag before a swimming expedition. We froze. It was miserable. At 1 in the morning, I called Rebel into the tent for a little heat. The dogs seemed to have calmed down greatly, and with the added heat, we drifted off. Sometime during the night, I heard something that was just about woke me. I was still in a haze, so I fell asleep immediately again. I woke up another time because I thought I heard Rebel yip a little bit, excuse me. But again, I was in and out. I put my hand out to pet his head and he licked me. I fell asleep again. My wife later said she fell asleep about the same time as I did and never woke up during the night. I woke up to the most horrible noise I had ever heard coming out of a 100-pound woman. Just the most god-awful shrieks I had ever heard. I never want to hear them again. I opened my eyes just in time to see a man at the mouth of the shaft, silhouetted against the moonlight or morning daylight, looking back at us with a twisted grin and kind of a slightly demented face. I scrambled to get free from my tightly zipped sleeping bag and the little tent while he was crouched there grinning at us. When I was about free, he just disappeared. Now we are granola crunching, tree hugging, anti-gun nature freaks at this time. So the only thing I had was my camp knife. I found it after what seemed like hours of searching, but really it was probably a minute. I very cautiously made my way to the entrance, millimeters at a time. This strange human was gone. About that time, my wife started screaming and whimpering again, so I rushed back to the shaft. She had struggled out of the tent and was pointing at what used to be Rebel. His head nearly severed, and the tent and bags were ruined with blood all over everything. She had blood all over her. So the first thing I did was make sure she was not injured. Then I checked myself. We were okay. It was Rebel's blood. We put on our still damp clothes from the night before, and we noticed our boots were gone. We were in trouble. I had some paracord, so we tied some shirts and towels around our feet and climbed back down toward the creek. We left everything in that mine except for my knife and some stuff that we shoved into our pockets. It took us 8 hours to get back down to the car, and we were like Hamburg. Hands, feet, arms, legs scraped. Elizabeth! Thank you. Bruised, raw, bleeding. We jumped in the car and started right up, thankfully enough. We left in a dust cloud that blanketed the valley as we sped down the rough trail toward Durango. We limped into the sheriff's office. We looked like hell. We shared our experience, my wife through tears and me talking way too fast, but we finally got it out. The deputy said they would go and out first in the morning and asked us to stay in town. We had no money for a hotel, so they let us stay in a cell after we showered and changed into prison jumpsuits. We were there at the jail waiting for the expedition to return with a convoy of 3 trucks. I noticed that all officers were quite wet and filthy, gave us dirty looks as they passed us. The deputy that we talked to the day before herded us back to his office. Then came the interrogation. Turns out that some animal had spread the dog's remains all down the side of the creek. He said there was nothing else there, no tent, no backpack, nothing. He asked us if we were on drugs. I did not want to admit to him that I had smoked some herbs, so I denied it. It was clear that we were fighting a losing battle. They had come to the conclusion that we were wandering through the woods high on LSD while a mountain lion had killed our dog. The bastard even made us change back into our filthy clothes and give back the jumpsuits right there and then. He told us that we better leave and he'd better not see us again. We left. My wife was sobbing. I have never went back to that damn town Durango since. The thing that I have nightmares still about years later. I have never mentioned this to my wife. The second time I woke up when I heard Rebel yelp was when his throat was cut. And if that was the time his throat was cut, was it Rebel that licked my hand or that weird demented man? I still go into the wilderness, not overnight though, out well before dark. I'm out well before dark, only with other people too, and always with a big gun. I respect animals, but I fear people. That's why I don't like feral humans. Feral humans scare me more than anything. I think I'd much rather deal with a Dogman than a feral human. They are not cool. And I don't think my own opinion on feral humans is okay. So you have Deliverance, right? I don't consider them feral human. I don't think they're feral. I think they're just inbred, and they like the woods and they like humping each other. I think feral humans are something different than a human. I think they are like possibly closely related to Neanderthal, Denisovian, something, a slide back from the evolutionary chain. But I think they are monsters either way. I don't, and I like Dogman is a stupid name for a dog man. Feral human is a stupid name for these creatures too, but I don't like them. Katie Byers, how are you? Yeah, like mountain people. I don't think feral humans are mountain people. No, I'm not talking about the homeless. Where did you? Yeah, Robert's black-eyed kid story wasn't crazy. Homeless are human. Thank you, 59th. And I think they are vulnerable. I actually like the gentleman that was from California that shared the experience at his workshop, that metal factory that he has in San Bernardino. The government has to know, the local government has to know that there are these creatures, just like the local sheriffs in Cott County, Tennessee, have to know that that homeless encampment that's at the end of Jimtown Road is in danger at a daily basis. Why don't they move them? You know, like help them, move them out of that area, get them to a safer spot. Just because they don't have a home doesn't make them any less of a person. Fuck, you know? It's just douchey. Yeah, the government doesn't give a shit about us, New Age. They don't. They just, you know, I believe that there are sections of the government that don't know about these creatures, but they still look at us like we are gutter trash just because we are not in their fucking circle. I don't know. Pisses me off. I don't. My girlfriend and I went camping for my birthday last year in a place that I have camped 100 times throughout my life. In all the times I have been out there, I have never had an experience that would even come close to becoming or to be considered creepy before this trip. What we experienced one night was genuinely the scariest thing I had ever experienced. I'm an Afghan war vet with plenty of combat experience, and even during those events, I never felt nearly as scared or helpless as I did that night in the forest. With everything that happened during that trip, never at any point did it even cross my mind to find my camera and record. I was much more concerned about protecting my girlfriend and keeping us safe. Everything from the voices and whispering to yelling in the woods, seeing it crawl past on the edges of the firelight, a ton of missing time throughout the entire day, having what I can only describe as false thoughts and memories that ever happened. We absolutely did not notice any wildlife the entire trip, aside for a lone falcon that flew up and down the canyon a couple times. There was just so much that was so deeply wrong about that trip. We spent hours discussing it at great length many times since, and I've spent hours looking for explanations online only to come up empty handed. The only thing that even remotely describes our experience would be a crawler of some sort. I have spent a ton of time in the woods. I've always felt more at home in the middle of nowhere, like than at my own house. That all changed on this trip. I haven't been camping since. I even skipped my yearly tradition on my birthday trip this time. So, missing time. Crawler. Definitely something. He saw it crawling by. But the missing time, portal. All these like 411s that, even the 411s that, oh, my hair is driving me nuts tonight. Even the 411s that, or no, close 411s, people that almost became missing or almost, they all experience like missing time, lost time, strange, just kind of feelings, weird shit. I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that where Tom Messick disappeared. Just that metallic noise. My hair is driving me nuts. I'm going to put on this hat. It's real dusty, but there we go. That's much better. Shall we? I have not spoken to Luke in a while. He reached out to me, but I have not spoken to him. He said he was going to get in touch with me. GRP, I said you could email me and I'd give you Robert's email. I said I would do it one last time. No haircut, Linda Thomas. Nope. Not since I heard about the Native American Vietnam trackers that when they cut their hair, they almost lost the ability to track very well. So my hair's growing out. I have not heard from Sandhoff in such a long time. Thanks, Puma. Let me write that down. I'm going to send her an email. Thank you for reminding me. I got to see if she's okay. Her and her husband. You like the Bigfoot on my hat? He's got a hiking stick. He's looking for a cow. What's a feral person? Kind of like a feral person is something that isn't us. That it's not like a toothless hillbilly wearing a overall set with no shoes. That's not a feral human. Even in that movie, the TV show The Outsiders, I wouldn't consider them feral, even though that was their last name, coincidentally, the Farrells. But I wouldn't consider them feral. I would just consider them backwoods. Feral are like, I consider them monsters. They're fucking monsters. Wheezy, Victor is dead. Fentanyl zombies. Yeah, buddy. They got them in Pennsylvania. Yes, Stacy Brooks. Yep. I've said it for 7 months now. No, I'm not assuming. Jesus Christ. Music, and my mom starts calling my cell all frantic. Where are you? That's when I realized it was like 3 hours later. Loss of time. Has anyone experienced loss of time? Like hiking, camping, fishing, anything? Loss of time? Anyone? Latin Lobo Familia, how are you? I know you have. I know you have, Janie. In the car, while driving. Was it at night? Was it at night? Kitty Byers. Yes, yes. Scars I didn't know about. No shit. Enormous. Stacey Brooks. At night, yeah. So, what? At 12 a.m. So, what do you guys think? Like, do you think it could be like alien or not alien? I hate using that word alien because, like, alien could describe like dimensional or outer space, but like, could it be a UFO or could it be a portal? Or what if these portals are so powerful? So, like, many of us are driving, right? We're driving down the road, listening to fucking Debbie Gibson and just cruising. Tiffany kicks on, children beware. All of a sudden, 6 hours go by. What if there's a portal that we passed, like that we didn't go through, but we passed? And that magnetic power or that magnetic charge just kind of changed everything. Pete, how are you? Yeah, scientists have said portals exist. I believe science more than Snopes. Shut up, Aramic. I mean, science has already proven that dimensions exist. I think Albert Einstein proved that dimensions exist 100 years ago. Nikola Tesla, right? Not 100 years ago, but like 80 years ago. I mean, you and Einstein used to be companions, right, Nikola? Back in the day. Yes, the string theory. In a porthole, we're not talking about a glory hole. We're talking about a porthole. Okay. The glory hole at the truck stop is not the same thing where Lucy the lot lizard lives. I saw a dark shadow circle the size of 2 parking lots. Lots of scanned area stopped at my feet. No shit. Yes, you can. Ryan Mack, you definitely can lose time at the glory hole at the truck stop, but you don't want to tell your friends about it. Okay? You will tell your friends about a portal that you've seen in the woods, just not about the truck stop glory hole or Lucy the lot lizard. Because chances are you're going to come back with some bugs. And I'm not talking bugs on your nugs. I'm talking bugs inside your pee hole. I lost time. J-Dad, I lost time hunting. Hello all. Woke up. No shit, J-Dad. That's crazy. Lucy, I am not Lucy Fanning. I'm not saying you're a lot lizard. I just use the name Lucy because just because. Oh shit, Jim Baker. All right, I'm gonna do one more encounter. Well, not one more for the night, but I'm gonna come up with a lot lizard experience. Yes, I never trusted Edison either. I always trusted you, Nicola, much more than Edison. We live in Chiang Mai, and at night we often like to go on joy rides outside of the city on less used farm roads. This happened in August of 2020. We were riding down one of the small roads we have taken before. There was not any traffic on that road that night, and the motorcycle headlight was not super bright. So only a small portion of the road ahead of us was illuminated when this white, hairless thing the size of a large dog with long legs lunged out at us from the side of the road at us and ran side by side with our motorcycle. My boyfriend swerved to avoid it into oncoming traffic lane, and this thing ran beside the bike, snapping at us for a few seconds before it ran off to the side of the road. I got a decent look at its face. It had no ears and a head shaped like a rat. Its teeth seemed dog-like. We kept riding until we got to the gas station where we stopped. I asked my boyfriend, WTF, what is that? And he had no idea, but was relatively dismissive of the idea that it was anything else but a dog. He still will not talk about it and does not want to take that road again at night. I am not exactly sure what I saw. It all happened very fast, but from what I did see, I am sure that that thing was not a dog. I think about it all the time. I really want to figure out what it was. I really do think it may have been a crawler / pale man. That experience came from Thailand. I witnessed something best described as an unexplained humanoid in 2010 when I only recently started driving alone in Belgium. It was past midnight when I was driving home on a long road with dark forest on either side. It would take 5 minutes or so to get to the village, so it wasn't like I was in the middle of nowhere. I was just trying to focus on the road when suddenly a pitch black creature ran toward the car from my left side. I thought it was an animal that wanted to cross, and it would definitely hit the car. Instead, it started running alongside with the car. I was driving at least 90 kilometers an hour. For around several seconds, it continued to run alongside of me. After a while, I believe it turned left again back into the woods. I was scared beyond belief, and I probably never drove as hard as I did to get away from that thing. Everything happened so fast. The only thing I was able to identify was that the creature was pitch black, running on four legs like a canine, and it was large enough to see running next to me from my car window. To this day, I tried to convince myself that it was a wolf or a dog that was just startled. Only weird thing about it was its speed. It could keep up with me for many seconds, which was unbelievable. What's wrong with Shari? Kathy Hayes' daughter, Tori, thank you for subscribing. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love. Yes, that Rebel story is definitely sad. Definitely sad. Steph, have a good night, brother. Have a good night. Are you going to be free Wednesday? Wednesday night, possibly, Steph? Hang on, I got to do a little adjusting. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it sounded like a crawler. All three of those crawler-like. Crawler-like. Do you believe in dire wolves? I don't think there's. I think the dire wolf is actually the epicyon. Should be. I just have a bunch of boring technical data we have gathered. All right, cool. I still want to hear it. A dire wolf is a large, extinct wolf, but I think truly it's not the biggest canine that was ever on our planet. The biggest canine that was on our planet is the epicyon haydeni. Epicyon, epicyon, hey, haydeni, haydeni. These things were huge. And if by chance they could be bipedal, that could explain the Dogman, possibly. Tori, a new subscriber. Thank you, Tori, for subscribing. Alan Howell, thank you for the love. Hiya, Roberta777. Hiya. Welcome. Yeah, they're huge. Do you know what I'm talking about, 59th? The epicyon is just a monster of a fucking dog. Like, they would take a lion or a liger and just rip a liger apart. Like, no problem. And I've always, wondered, ligers are huge. Why don't canines get that big? Well, they did. And then they became extinct. Or did they? And they just learned how to walk bipedal and hide. Future trunks, I agree. Thank you, Truth in Christ. Imagine if dinosaurs still existed. The reptilians supposedly are a leftover, some dinosaur, according to some of the writings by different people. I'm in a little pain right now. I just really sat down hard and scrunched my balls. Oh my God. Oh. Oh, you know, guys know that pain that I'm talking about. You all know that pain. Like, I fucking sat down on those son of a bitches and it hurts bad. Like, right now, I'm having a hard time breathing. Fuck. Fuck. Oh, my God. Santo. Frankenstein. Wolfman. The Mummy. Fucking camera. Oh, God. There we go. Some bitch. Whew. That was like that time I had a lot lizard grab me by my balls and drag me out of the truck stop. It hurt so bad. Oh, fuck me. I was trying to come up with a lot lizard story too, right there. Okay. Lot lizard story. Here we go. Is that your encounter? A lot lizard is a prostitute that lives in a truck stop, Stacy Brooks. Yes, I'm going to come up with it right now. Here we go. So, exit 18 truck stop in upstate New York. It's a very scary place at night. There's crackheads that sit in cars, cross-dressers that sit in cars smoking crack that are actually lawyers. You can look this up in the Post-Star newspaper. A crackhead lawyer, cross-dresser, was arrested one time. This young man named Gus happened to be traveling from Montreal to New York City. And he had stopped at this truck stop one night. He had to use the restroom. He needed a soda. His girlfriend was asleep in the car, passed out. Very nice girl, very nice girl. They'd never consummated their relationship yet. So poor Gus goes in, starts going to the bathroom, peeing. And he hears this noise, this weird kind of, it's like scratching. He's looking around. He's like, what the fuck? Doesn't know what's going on. But he realizes that that scratching sounds like the wooden door to the outside of the restroom door. I'm in here, he says. He hears the scratching some more. He gets done peeing, and he knows that he has to go out that door, take a right to get to the soda machine. Because in the truck stop at exit 18 in the Adirondacks, there is only a soda machine and a vending machine. There's no other people there. Just that's all you get. And he thinks, did I lock my car? Is my girlfriend okay? So he walks out, and all of a sudden, he sees this female standing aside of the soda machine. And she's semi-attractive from the light. The light makes her look kind of attractive. She's got blonde hair. It's a little dirty. Not dirty blonde, but a little dirty. Like she had rolled around on the ground a little bit. Some leaves, maybe a stick or two. But he looks and he can see the prettiness, a little bit of prettiness. And he sees this leather miniskirt, that 1984 circa Chess King. And he says, huh. He looks at his car. His girlfriend's still asleep. He gets that little feeling, that little urge, that little nudge. He realizes that he's got $20 in his wallet. All right. So he puts his dollar in the vending machine, and he gets a grape Fanta, because Gus likes grape Fanta. And then he puts another dollar in the vending machine, and he gets an Almond Joy. And then he looks at the girl. But when he looks at her this time, he does one of these because she smiles at him. And what he sees is this jagged mess of teeth that aren't broken. They're just sharp, like shards of glass. But he's not thinking with this head, because she's still kind of pretty with that 1984 circa Chess King miniskirt and that tube top that is from some store back in the 80s. Well, he slips her the 20 and they go behind the building. And as they are behind the building, he's already got his pants down to his ankles. And the girl immediately jumps. But as she's jumping in the air, he realizes something, that she is now not wearing this circa Chess King 84 dress, skirt, or that tank top from a weird H&M store from 80s. But she's got this green tail and she's scaly. But she's got these huge bazonkers coming out too that are green. And the nipples are green. Dark green. Really dark green. And he on him. And he screams in horror and in pain. Because, mind you, his pants are down, but he's got his undies on still. But he feels this horrible, horrible pain around his junk. And he realizes that it's her hands. And she starts pulling his junk, like trying to pull it off. And he's screaming, help, help. And all of a sudden, out from nowhere comes his girlfriend with a flashlight. And she goes, what is going on, Gus? Oh my God. And the thing looks up at her and hisses, this horrible hiss. It whips out this tongue of, well, pleasure, but evil. This forked, pleasurable tongue with these jagged glass teeth. And she takes off running toward the car. Gus is lying there. And she looks down at Gus and she sticks that tongue right down his throat. And he starts gagging. And he somehow manages to get away. But as he's running, because he's running because his pants are still down to his ankles, so he's kind of doing that. You know what I mean? Guys know what I mean when they have to run to the bathroom like that. And he feels this horrible, horrible burning sensation in his backside, his anus. It's her tail. Her tail has whipped right around her and gone right up, elbow deep, his boob shoe, his booter hole. And he's now impaled in the air by this lot lizard from hell. And she's whipping him around. And he pulls up like that, gets off of it. He's bleeding. He's got poop coming out. And he just runs to his car. And he gets in the car. And he starts it up. And his girlfriend's like looking at him because it smells. It's gross. It's ugh. And plus she saw this thing happen. And as he's backing out to get onto 87 to head to New York City from exit 18 in the Adirondacks, this thing jumps on his hood with the $20 bill in her mouth and lifts the windshield wiper and puts the $20 bill and jumps off. But as she's jumping off, she yells to him, this lot lizard, in this reptilian speech. What does she say? $20 is $20. And that's the lot lizard story of the night. All right. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I'm gonna have nightmares. I envisioned that I envisioned Gus, poor Gus, in the air like this. He's up in the air like this. And she's got that tail just elbow deep on that poor man's little booter hole. And that tail is like that big around. So one winter night in 1952, I was fast asleep in the west bedroom near the stairs. I was awakened by a strange, pulsating hum. Sitting straight up, I turned to the left to see three ghostly figures materialize in the next room as they were approaching my bedside. Please remember, this was rural Idaho, where we had no electricity, and I had never been to a movie or heard a radio show to that point. Two of these creatures looked just like gray aliens you would see in the movies, and one of them was in the center, was much taller and looked different. As they got closer, they told me to relax and go back to sleep telepathically. The floating sensation I felt helped stop my nervous shaking as I blacked out. The next morning, my grandmother met me halfway to the kitchen and asked if I was all right. She said that I had sunburn on the left side of my face and I looked tired. In the back seat of her new Buick on the way to the farm, I felt compelled to lie down on the floor with my back to the front seat. The telepathic message was like the one I received from the three ghost-like creatures. Moments later, after lying down, we T-boned another car on Interstate 90. Everyone except me was seriously injured and taken to the hospital. The year, I believe, was 1959. While at a park, I noticed 12 flying saucers to the west of the park. To my great surprise, I had a visit the next day while at a friend's home who lived around the corner from my grandparents' home at 806 Brown Street in Wallace, Idaho. John's father answered the door to find two United States Air Force in uniform asking to speak with me in private. My mother stood with the Air Force officer to my left, and the sergeant stood in front as another man entered the room dressed in black, wearing a hat and dark sunglasses. I was asked to tell what I saw. I told them that I saw a bright round objects, mostly triangular groups, in three flying in a manner not like any aircraft known. They were able to stop and turn on a dime when they departed to high altitude. They took off so fast that they appeared to vanish at about a 30-degree angle in space. For the next hour, Air Force guy tried to get me to change my story, and I was growing tired of repeating myself. I then parroted back one of the officers' story as a way to make them leave. I noticed the officer look up at the guy in black for approval, as I could see the guy in black shake his head left to right. Now I knew I had to convince the guy in black and realize the officer was taking orders from him. So I came up with a better idea that got the approval from the big boss in black. The man in black never said a word to me, even after asking him direct questions. He then folded his notebook and left, followed by my mother and the officer. This is my recorded statement. So many others like me will take some comfort in knowing that they are not alone. Janie, what did I miss? I will try, Elizabeth. I will try. Who else plays Terror Pangsy? Still thinking about the lot lizard story. Me too. Me too. There is nothing better than a good lot lizard story. Nothing better. Oh shit. Oh. So I think Gravity fucking cheeseburger, how are you? So I think this week tomorrow I'm going kayaking. I'm taking the afternoon to myself. There will still be an afternoon upload too, obviously. But I'm gonna go kayaking. But I want to this week get up to where Tom Mezek disappeared at like 7, 8 o'clock, right when it's getting dark. I'm going to go to the rocks where whatever it was that crashed out behind me, that's as far as I'll go. I'm not going any further. Where I set up the trail cams and see what happens. We got to get something. There's got to be something. You know, like, okay, so is it daytime? Is it nighttime? He disappeared November 15th, 2015, sometime between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I've been there on all of those times on that day, different days. What's different? What's different? What are we missing? We're missing something. Dowsing rods. I brought the dowsing rods before. I brought them with me before up there, web surfer. All right, here we go. Tigger's sleeping on the couch. I'm not gonna mess with him tonight. All right. Okay. Are there any spirits or anything of that nature with us tonight? If there is, please cross the dowsing rods. That only stopped because it's rubbing on the copper dowsing rod. And my hands haven't moved. You guys can see that. Can you please uncross it? Has anyone got a question? Are you from this dimension? Yes, cross. If not, don't cross. Okay, so you are from this dimension. Please uncross them. I can only ask yes or no questions. Do you know who Tom Mezek is? Are there portals on this planet, this realm? Okay. Please uncross. What are there? Are they demons? Are aliens that come from those dimensional portals demons? Are you a person who died? Please uncross. Are you the person that when I did paranormal research in the house that I caught on my SLS camera? Are you the one that died in this house? Please uncross. Do you mean my family harm? Is $20 where you are? That was just a joke. Do you know what a joke is? Do you know what happens to people that disappear randomly? Thank you for chatting with us. I'm going to leave you now. Please don't communicate with me anymore. Only through the dowsing rod when I ask. Please respect that. Uncross. Are you here still? Hello? Uncross. That was creepy. All right. Last experience of the night. I just did say a prayer, dude. That's why I took a second. All right. This will be the last experience of the night. Then I'm going to crash out for the evening. Guys, I had a great night with you guys. We did it a little longer than normal, 2 hours and 19 minutes. Plus, we had a live stream on the 4th of July. I want to thank everybody that was with me on the 4th Thank you so much. This was something I really had a hard time coming to grips with that happened when I was 16 years old. I lived in the suburbs of Houston, Texas. It was a nice, bustling area, and I was always around people, whether in the apartment complex I was in or just going about my day. I was never truly alone. I had a good friend I still frequently talked to. Let's call her Sarah. Her grandmother lived in Louisiana. I'd never been on one of the long road trips, but I thought having a girls' weekend with her would be fun. And I would bite the bullet and try to enjoy myself for this car ride with her parents, me, and her in an old minivan. Her grandmother was not the nicest, but she liked me well enough, I think. We were out in the middle of the woods. She was extremely close to the Kisatachi National Forest. Kisatachi National Forest. So the homes were spread far apart and the woods were vast, middle of nowhere. Her grandmother had a thing for people being too close to her. So my friend and I were out in the woods playing and exploring these dense woods behind our property. There was a nice creek and trees seemed to muffle the outside world. Birds were chirping. We saw a lot of wildlife, lizards, squirrels, chipmunks. This forest was crawling with life. It was amazing. We must have been there for a couple of hours because as the sun was starting to set, we started to get antsy. Now, her grandmother had a huge property. She enjoyed her space, and you must understand, there were no houses or neighbors beside her. She basically spent a fortune on her space. Anyway, we started back and followed the winding creek back up to her house, since it was vertical to her house. There was a noise behind us. It sounded like a dog or a wolf. I stopped, and my friend did too, and we listened. The noise continued. There was nothing more terrifying than absolute silence and actually hearing something behind you, following you. We were a ways away, but we both froze in fear. I was expecting it to be a coyote or some kind of feral dog, but as the footsteps from the dark drew closer, I heard a ragged breath. That sounded less dog and more human like. It started off quiet, but it grew louder and almost ravenous as it grew closer. I slowly turned around as my vision adjusted to the dark. Now it sounded like it was something dragging its legs through the leaves, and it stopped. There was more silence. No sounds, no panting, nothing. We were both petrified. We were scared now to move an inch because whatever this thing was very close to us. It would surely outrun and overtake us. Then we both heard the most bizarre sound in our lives. It was a deep, long moan, but it took us both by surprise. I managed to take a quick look at whatever it was the sound was coming from a couple of feet in front of my friend, and I saw it. One hand gripping the tree through the dusk. I could see its paper pale skin and its eyes. I'll never forget those eyes. They were wide, and the mouth was gaping like a dead fish, or Gus's booter. I didn't have time to analyze it. It was a woman or a man, a demon, or whatever it was. I just wanted to get out of the woods. The sound stopped as I locked my eyes. I felt my heart stop. My friend managed to tear herself out of the trance we were both in, grabbing my arm and booking it. We both started screaming and yelling to hopefully scare whatever was after us. Neither of us heard any noise behind us since we were so pumped with adrenaline, running and screaming, running and screaming. We didn't stop till we slammed the back door and locked it. Not 10 minutes after we got back, I demanded to go back home, and my friend was just as shaken since both of us refused to stay in the house. So we got a hotel at a nice nearby place and left the next day. I tried to be in a good mood the rest of my time I was there, and honestly, it was a great trip. other than that walk in the woods. Her grandmother actually died 2 weeks after we left, being alone on a crazy big property like she was in. I was surprised a neighbor a couple miles from her came to check on her. We are not sure how she died, but my friend and I have suspicions and still do. All right, guys. 2.5 hours of just crazy experiences. I want to thank you all. I loved you all. Guys, for real, thank you for supporting the channel. Like, honestly, thank you for spending Saturdays with me. I have a blast every Saturday. I look forward to hanging out with you guys. You guys have become more like a family to me than my real, like, extended family that I have. So thank you. I honestly cannot get over how close we are as like a unit. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking like a unit. I mean, like, I love hanging out with you guys. So with that, I'll see you guys next Saturday. But you guys will have uploads all throughout the week. Brad, I'm going to be talking to him Monday night. So that interview will be Tuesday. Steph, I'm going to get a hold of Wednesday. I think maybe Tuesday I will go up to where Tom Mesick disappeared at night, 8 o'clock at night. But with that, I love y'all. And $20 is $20. Guys, don't let your meatloaf, and have a good night.